And if no one else wants to.
Oh, we were supposed to record those, weren't we?
Hmm?
We were supposed to record those, weren't we?
What are
No.
your speech?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna record it on here and then I'll send her the link for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's
Does
going
anyone
now.
else want to go first? Or is that okay if I go first?
Yeah,
You can go
first.
Okay.
first.
Can everyone hear me fine?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the most controversial topics today in the United States is over a small plant. This is called marijuana. Marijuana comes from the cannabis plant. It contains a drug called THC. It has the effect to not only get you high, but also has many healing properties. Over 150 million people use marijuana around the world. In the United States, only 12 out of the 50 states have fully legalized marijuana both medically and recreationally. Marijuana has many benefits such as healing from a cancer treatment, relieving mental health disorder symptoms, and health issues. For many people, pot calms them down, and for people who do not have a medical marijuana card, this is going to be easier for them to get. Marijuana, both medically and recreationally, should be legalized in the United States in every single state. I'm going to tell you a story about my Aunt Lisa. She joined the Army in 1983, and she was injected with something that would prevent her from becoming pregnant if she was ever in danger. This caused her to have multiple sclerosis, or MS. MS is a disease in the immune system that eats away at the nerves, which interrupts communication from the brain and the body. In her case, this will never go away, and she will eventually become paralyzed from it. She has a hard time walking because she can't feel her feet, and she overheats very easily. She found this out in 2001 when she returned home from the Army. She was one out of the hundreds who became sick with this illness. She has a medical marijuana card which relieves a lot of her pain, and if she did not have the card, she'd be in pain constantly all the time. Medical marijuana is legal in 38 out of the 50 states. It has been used for centuries for so many different medical purposes. Marijuana reduces pain and inflammation, promotes sleep, controls seizures, and it's found that the THC controlled that seizures and binding the brain cells responsible for controlling and regulating relaxation. This also decreases anxiety, which improves your mood, and acts as a sedative, which calms you down. And according to the American Association for Cancer Research, it's found that marijuana actually slows down tumor growth in the brain, the breast, and the lungs. At the turn of the century, states in the West, such as Oregon, California, and Washington, started to legalize medical marijuana. And this spread talk around every other state because they were wondering if that was going to be the next move. Now in the talk of 2020, all states are wondering why marijuana hasn't been legalized, both recreationally and medically. One of the reasons is marijuana is much safer than alcohol and tobacco. And everyone's asking why this is such a big issue if we legalize it. Marijuana is much safer than alcohol and tobacco. Alcohol is legal in all 50 states. The age to purchase and consume is 21 years old. Here's some more facts about alcohol. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 30,000 annual deaths attribute to the health effects of alcohol. Around 1,600 US deaths occur every year due to alcohol poisoning, and alcohol is associated with a wide variety of cancers, including the esophagus, stomach, colon, pancreas, liver, and prostate. Tobacco, whether that's cigarettes, cigars, or chewing tobacco, has been used for centuries. This past December, the age to purchase any tobacco product changed from the age of 18 to 21. Here are some more facts about this. A study led by the USCF and the University of Alabama saw that cigarettes cause lung damage, respiratory symptoms, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and lung cancer. 443 deaths, or 1 in every 5 Americans, die every year from tobacco use. Mark Pletcher, who is an associate professor for the Division of Clinical Epidemiology at USCF, stated tobacco users typically smoke 10 to 20 cigarettes a day. Marijuana users smoke normally 2 to 3 times a month. So the exposure to marijuana is much lower than tobacco. Now looking into some marijuana facts. The Center for Disease Control does not even have a category for deaths caused by the health effects of marijuana because no one has ever died from the use of marijuana. The mortality risk associated with marijuana is approximately 114 times less than alcohol. While alcohol and tobacco cause cancer, marijuana is used to likely reduce the risk of cancer, and it reduces the amount of pain in a natural way. Although marijuana users could develop a dependence for it, it appears less likely to do so more than alcohol and tobacco. Out of the three, marijuana is the safest drug to use. Looking at all the three together, it's shocking to think that both are not legal. Marijuana should be legalized in the United States both for recreational purposes and medical. Now I'm going to talk about marijuana in the justice system. Legalizing marijuana would reduce the amount and the number of arrests and jail placements for marijuana violations, and it would make the criminal justice system focus on more harsher crimes, such as trafficking, murders, and other harsh crimes. In 2018, 663,367 people were arrested for a marijuana violation. 2.3 Americans are behind bars, which is the largest prison population on the entire planet. Many of these were there for nonviolent crimes such as possession of marijuana. Legalizing medical and recreational marijuana would give cops more time to focus on more violent crimes, and it would lower the number of people in jail for a marijuana violation. Relating this more recent, the coronavirus is affecting the entire United States, including prisons and jails. The Bureau of Prisons has 143,694 federal inmates in managed institutions and 10,223 in community-based facilities. As of April 28th, there are currently 479 federal inmates and 305 staff who have been tested positive for COVID-19. 21 inmates have died from this virus. So do you think that people should be in jail for something as small as a marijuana charge and be in jail with people who are murderers and still have to suffer just like them? I'm not saying people with large quantities of marijuana should not be in prison. They definitely should, but I think people who have small amounts of marijuana should not be in prison for that. There are many arguments coming from anti-marijuana views, and I'm going to name a few. Some people say if we legalize it, there will be an increase of teens using marijuana. Their brains aren't fully developed, which could be harmful. Which I agree with that. There's a possibility that teens could potentially use more because it is legal. However, it's not a life or death situation. If we legalize it, it will be more safe because people are going to know where it's coming from and who they're getting it from. And for example, in Colorado, a state where it is legal, resulted in a decrease in teen use. Another one is marijuana is addictive. Marijuana can lead to more of an urge to smoke because the THC makes you high, but you cannot overdose on pot. You can get sick if you smoke more than you should, but no one will ever die from it. It's never going to impair you permanently. People are more addicted to alcohol and tobacco more than marijuana. These are many negative views on the idea of legalizing marijuana. However, positive effects of legalizing marijuana outweigh the negative. In conclusion, I believe that every state should legalize marijuana both for medical purposes and recreational. There are benefits such as healing from a cancer treatment, relieving mental health disorder and symptoms, and other health issues. It is also safer than both alcohol and tobacco, which are both legal throughout the nation. It will also decrease the number of people in jail for marijuana violations. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Does someone want to go next?
I can, if no one else wants to.
Okay.
Hold on, I have to close my door because my sister came in.
She already do hers? Benny? Oh. Benny, did your sister already do her speech?
Yeah,
Okay.
she did it on Thursday, but I decided to move mine. Today I'm going to be talking about physician-assisted suicide, also known as PAS, or the medical aid in dying. According to the American Medical Association, PAS is defined as when a physician facilitates a patient's death by providing the necessary means and/or information to enable the patient to perform a life-ending act. Now, this procedure is most commonly used with patients who are given a non-curable diagnosis or a disease that will slowly have them deteriorate until the end. Now, in many, many states of America, this is still an illegal procedure. A 2018 poll by Gallup showed that a solid 72% of Americans voted in support of laws allowing patients to seek out PAS, but nevertheless, it remains illegal. The reason that it remains an illegal procedure in America is because of the debate of morality and just the morals behind it. Many people think that a doctor should not be helping a patient to end their life, since a doctor's role is to help cure diseases and to help make people better. But in reality, this procedure has very many morals, because it is about ending pain and ending suffering and not having patients have to go through terrible pain and suffering and hardship for the last months or years or weeks that they're alive. So why is this a problem? I'm going to share a personal story about my grandfather. So many of you might be wondering why I actually switched into your group, and that is because a week ago today, my grandfather died, and so I was supposed to do my presentation on Thursday, but I decided to put it back. My grandfather had suffered with cardiovascular issues for many, many years. He had blood clots in his legs, which he had had before, and they did surgery on, and he ended up getting through it. But just before this whole quarantining happened, they found another blood clot in his same leg, and they decided that it was too, like, if he went onto the operation table, he would not come out. So they put him on blood thinners, and basically 3 months ago, that was telling us that it's the end. Like, he wasn't going to be making it through this. So that was hard for all of us, because it was hard on him, because he was always a very happy and nice person, and then it was just him knowing that it was the end and there wasn't a way he was going to get out of it. Like, this was the last time. So over the past 3 weeks, we were told by hospice that he had less than 2 weeks to live, and it was just getting to the end of it. And it was very hard, because near the end of it, he was on so many pain medications that he was very just malevolent and just very rude and angry and confused, and he didn't know what was going on, and he was just in a lot of pain. And it was really hard, because since we are all in quarantine, we cannot have a funeral, and we cannot come together as a family to mourn him until this is all over. So it was very hard on my older sister because she was his caretaker. Like, she lived in the house with him, so she was there when he died, and so she had to deal with that by herself. So had this procedure been available, had it been an option, there would have been the option for my grandfather to seek out this procedure and be able to end his life without pain, without suffering, in the company of his family, with dignity, and with his brain still intact before everything just deteriorated, before he just had to go. So that is why this is a problem, because really keeping this procedure illegal just allows for more pain and suffering to happen around America and around the world than it would had we just legalized this procedure. So the solution is that legalizing this procedure actually has many morals and should be thought of as a good procedure medically, because it can help to end the suffering and end the pain of not only patients that seek it out, but also the families that have to watch their loved ones slowly deteriorate with illnesses until the end. And in circumstances like this, where had we been given this procedure 3 months ago, we all would have been able to mourn his death together instead of apart. Thank you.
Job.
Thank you.
Good job, Benny. Sorry for your loss.
Benny, you are a way stronger person than me. That's on the
Yeah,
spiritual level. You are a way stronger person than me.
Yep.
Thank you. I picked out this this topic before it all happened, and let me tell you, it was a hard topic to research about, given this last week.
Oh my god.
If that was me, I would have just lost my mind.
Yeah, I took like 5 days off of school last week, so I just was like, I'm not gonna do my presentation. Yeah. So
Great job.
thank you.
Also, did you cut your hair?
Yes, I did.
I love it.
I'm yeah, I'm one of the few that the quarantine was like, we're just gonna shave it because I can't get my hair cut.
Looks good on you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do one of you guys want to go, or do you want me to go?
No, I can go.
Okay.
All right. So my topic was music and personality. Now, I know we've all been there. There was a time that a certain song came on the radio. You're like, oh yeah, this is my jam. You guys gotta listen to this. But everybody else looked at you kind of weird about it. And you kind of just, backed off, like, you know what, never mind, you don't have to listen to it. Well, what if I told you that music is just another form of you? That choice of music is still you. Like, so I know people have their preference of music and everything, and I'll explain why a little bit later in the speech. But so it's just a matter of preference. It's okay that other people don't like your kind of music, and it's great if people like your kind of music. It's just all preference. Nothing really about it. Now, with me, digging in this deeper, I found a study that actually shows music and personality goes hand in hand. Music is basically another extension of yourself, in other words. And the music choices you actually have can say a lot about you as a person. So, like me, I'm more of a metal rock kind of guy myself. What that says about me is like low self-esteem, no shocker there really. Not very hardworking, which I believe is false. If I wasn't very hardworking, I wouldn't be here. And I'm creative. That's a little iffy for me. Creativity is not really my strong suit, but it actually does say a lot more and makes a lot of sense for my life and where things are right now. So music is should be one of the things that gets you through the day. I mean, how many of us listen to music on like a daily basis, no matter what we're doing? See, like music's not like a foreign thing. So I got a little personal situation when it came to music and me growing up listening to music that everybody else wasn't listening to. So this was around the time Spotify became like the mainstream music streaming service. And I was just, being in high school, sitting at my desk, headphones blaring, some Slipknot, because I'm angsty like that, I guess. Then this kid just came up to me like, hey, why are you listening to that garbage? You should be listening to something else. Like, I just gave him the most concerning look, like, excuse me? Like, you can't tell me what to listen to on my headphones. And then he had the audacity to take my phone and change the song. I almost got suspended that day. But still, people should not have the right to judge you on your music choices. I mean, that's you. Them having a problem with your music choices is them having a problem with you. And this professor, Adrian North, from a college in London, he did a study on how music can affect a person's personality. And he just gave a whole list on how music can affect personalities, what type of music tells certain aspects of a person. Like, just name one genre. Name one.
Rap.
So rap. What he said about rap is those people are usually the more outgoing people. Like the more, try to be leaders and things like that. Like they're like very outspoken people. And one more.
Indie music.
Wait, say that again?
Indie music, like Billie Eilish, kind of like,
Oh, like the pop chart music?
Yeah.
Those are like outspoken too, but they're very creative people. Like you see like the trendsetters, everything. Like those are those type of people that listen to the pop chart music. And the conclusion for my speech is like everybody has their preference of music. You may not agree with another person's preference of music, but at the end of the day, it's you. Your music that you listen to is an extension of you, and you should be proud of it. And that's it.
Good job, Tyler.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good job.
Good job.
Jenny, do you want to go or do you want me to go first?
I'll go, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, an apple a day keeps the doctors away. Eating carrots is good for your eyesight. Drinking milk helps your bones grow strong. And my personal favorite, Cheerios are good for the heart. These are all sayings we heard growing up, but how much of a difference does the type of apple, the type of carrots, and the type of milk you incorporate into your diet make an impact on the environment? Hello, lovely people. My name is Jennifer Martinez, and today I'll be trying to convince you on why you should incorporate organic food into your diet. So, what comes to your head when someone says the word organic? I know one of the many thoughts that comes to people's heads is expensive, but can you really put a numerical price on your overall health and well-being? Research conducted in November of 2018 by Pew Research Center shows that 45% of US adults believe eating organic is better for your health. Some of these health benefits include major impacts in your mental health, emotional health. Organic foods often have beneficial nutrients such as antioxidants, and people with allergies to foods, chemicals, or preservatives often find that their symptoms lessen when they only eat organic food. Many of us have left campus since the last time we spoke and are now staying with our family, a relative, or a close friend. Whatever your living situation is, budgeting a couple extra dollars into your weekly or bi-weekly grocery shopping could over time significantly improve your health. Baby steps into this new lifestyle is key. I understand that times are very tough right now. Trust me, everyone is feeling the impact of this pandemic. Even big name grocery stores like Walmart and Myers are out of common household items such as eggs, milk, fruits, and other fresh produce. This is where local shops come in and save the day. It is these farmers markets owned by the very people in your community that are helping you take the first steps in your organic journey. Not only do these markets help keep the money locally inside your economy. So the first problem in many people's journey into this new lifestyle is that they don't know or quite frankly understand what the term organic means. To put it simply, organic food is grown with the natural farming procedures. This means that no man-made chemicals are used. Better stated in an article published by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, all USDA certified organic foods are grown and processed accordingly to federal guidelines that address soil quality, animal raising practices, pest and weed controls, and the use of additives. Along with knowing what the term organic means, people also don't know the benefits that come with consuming organic produce. A recent article published in April of 2020 titled Organic Food, What You Need to Know, states that organic food not only provides consumers with health benefits, but it is more sustainable for the environment. More specifically, the article states that organic produce contains fewer pesticides and that it and other harsh chemicals. My uncle worked closely with these chemicals because he was the one who drove the tractor spraying the pesticides. From talking to some of the workers and my own family members, we never really knew how these pesticides affected our health, even though we always worked so closely with the plants for many years. For the most part, though, all of us felt safe working on the farm. My boss, with both the safety of his workers and his customers in mind, decided to make the switch to go green. We have slowly but surely been working on making the switch over to organic farming. I remember when we first were trying out these new farming tactics, and let me tell you, it was a learning process that involved not only our boss, but everyone else working on the farm. My boss was quick on handing us papers that explained to us the new organic pesticides he was going to be using. However, he did forget to mention that these new pesticides reeked of fish, so we all came to work one day and were shocked by the new smell. But I guess that's a small price to pay for not only everyone's health, but the environment as well. To further back up my story, an article published by the US Department of Agriculture stated that more and more farmers are entering the organic market. Just last year, the number of certified operations in the US grew by almost 12%, which is more than double the growth rate of 2014. Now, picture yourself in this situation. You're older, you have your own kids, maybe even nieces, and they walk into their local Walmart and see nothing but fresh produce in the food section. This is a future we can make happen. This industry is growing. Since the USDA's Agriculture Marketing Service implemented their regulations in 2002, the US organic system has tripled in size with over $43 billion in sales. Don't just take my word for it though. Do your own research. Visit your own local farmers markets. Get informed on how the farmers are growing their food, where the food is coming from, and what benefits they will make to your body. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
You got this, AJ.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start. So today I'm gonna be talking about sex, which is the topic strikes up a lot of different types of emotions. A lot of people get really excited to talk about this. A lot of people are more shy about it. A lot of people feel really uncomfortable. But the conversation between about sex between teenagers and their parents is always the most awkward and uncomfortable. But it's no secret that teenagers are having sex. We know this, and it's not new news. The National Center for Health Statistics says that 40% of 18-year-olds admit to having sex, which is this number is a lot smaller than when the statistic was taken in 1988. Then the number was 57%, and it was between 15 and 19-year-olds. So today, teenagers are having sex later, and they're having sex a lot less. And the teenagers in the study from 1988 are today they're probably like in their mid 40s, approaching their 50s, which I don't know about you guys, but that's like my parents' age. A lot of my friends' parents are that age too. So for them to be really, protective of their kids having sex, it was kind of confusing to me because their age group, a lot more kids were having sex and they were doing it a lot younger too. But I kind of realized that they're probably trying to protect us from things that they saw and things that they experienced when they were growing up, and that they don't want us to go through the same thing too. And I personally notice a lot of taboo in the subject when I'm talking to my parents. We don't really talk about it a lot. It's just kind of something that we kind of avoid. I did a Survey Monkey, and I asked if you thought the topic was taboo or not taboo at all, and it was split pretty 50-50. Half the people said, yes, it's very taboo, and half the people said, no, it's not at all. So yeah, so there's a lot of people that think that it's something that is like hard to talk about, and there's a conversation about condoms being provided by high schools. And this is a very split conversation. I also did a question on this on my Survey Monkey, and pretty much everyone said yes, they think that condoms should provide, or high school should provide condoms for their students. But later I asked a question and it was asking if you would feel comfortable if your 15-year-old, if you would feel comfortable if your 15-year-old was out having sex and they were being provided condoms by other adults, and pretty much everyone said no, they would not feel comfortable, and they would try to avoid that from happening, which a lot of younger high schoolers are around 14 and 15. So if high schools did provide condoms, 14 and 15-year-olds would have access to those condoms too. It wouldn't just be like the older kids, they would probably be like for everyone. So pretty much what I got from that is there's a lot of people that don't want their young high schoolers having access to condoms. And I want those people to be educated and learn about the safety of sex and condoms, and I want them to understand that it's not like a super taboo topic, and I want it to be more normalized to talk about. That way the parents will be okay with their kids having access to condoms, and they might even provide them themselves. So like I said, the topic is very taboo and often avoided. A lot of parents don't want to imagine their kids having sex. They don't want to see them that way. And a lot of kids are the same way. They don't want their parents knowing, or they don't want their parents to have that image of them. A lot of parents try to use scare tactics to make sure that their kids don't have sex. And they say things like, you better not be having sex. These things can lead to less communication about sex between kids and their parents, which can lead to uneducated decisions, and those teenagers might not have a lot of guidance. They might be getting advice from other kids their age, which they obviously don't have a lot of experience. So it would be better to get advice from their parents who have obviously a lot more experience with the whole situation. And the kids would probably be more like scared of disappointing their parents if they find out. So it would lead to a lot more sneaking around and hiding. And you don't want your kids to be doing things behind your back. So I believe that safe sex isn't about the availability of condoms. I believe it's more about the talk about sex and the guidance that a person receives that will lead them to choosing safe options before having sex. And to normalize all these problems, or to make all these problems go away, we can normalize the talk about sex so that kids will feel comfortable talking with their parents, and they won't feel like it's something that they need to hide. Obviously, we can't just make people stop feeling awkward. We can't just tell people like, you shouldn't feel awkward about this, you should normalize it, and then they're not going to be uncomfortable around it anymore. It's not going to work like that. So I think that we should have kind of sex education classes in high schools, not for the students, but for the parents. They can go there after school, and they can learn about safe sex in teenagers, and they can learn about the conversation about sex and how to talk to their teenager and how to guide them. Then they'll be more able and likely to guide their teenagers and those younger high schoolers too. They can advise them away from it, or they can help them out. They might even provide condoms themselves once the conversation is more comfortable for them. And I think then the parents will be more okay with condoms being available to their students, because it won't really be about condoms promoting sex. It'll be about the kids coming to their parents to talk about and have the conversation first. So obviously the kids are gonna, if they come to their parents first, they'll that will determine whether or not they take a condom. So in conclusion, the topic of sex is very taboo, and it's something very avoided between teenagers and their parents. That causes a lot of problems with sneaking around, and we can fix that by educating parents and normalizing the talk about sex by having them take courses at high schools, and hopefully this will make them okay with the topic of sex, and they can provide condoms for their students, give them guidance, and be okay with condoms being handed out in high schools. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah, everyone did good.
That was my fastest one. They were all like
That's
10
good.
minutes long yesterday.
How long was it now?
It was 8 minutes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end this recording and then I'll probably post it on the discussion board so you can copy and paste the link.